Welcome back, Mr. Verma.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Verma, is it true that the land earmarked for animal sanctuaries is decreasing, particularly the Bannerghatta National Park, or encroachers to blame?
As far as Bannerghatta is concerned, we are fortunate to have a city with a forest attached, and that to a national park. 110 square kilometer area has been reserved for this Bannerghatta National Park. Barring few encroachment here and there which has taken place in the past, almost about 1000 hectare, well, it should not have been, but somehow in the initial days it has happened. After that, no further encroachment has taken place, and I would say that the further degradation of its physical area has been stopped.
Mr. Verma, have you not made, Forest Department has not made any efforts to bring those lost land back?
Yes. In fact, there is Supreme Court order itself to evict encroachers from all the reserve forest throughout the state, throughout the country. So, based on those Supreme Court orders, there have been eviction processes going on, and I think in Bannerghatta itself around 150 to 200 hectare was actually retrieved, and notices have been served on all these 1000 hectares encroachers. Slowly, I am sure, because there is a process of law, they can appeal against, they were there for so many years. So, but that process is being followed, and I am sure sooner than later those land would be brought back to Bannerghatta.
Right. Mr. Verma, because of this kind of encroachment, animals usually stray out of forest for food, particularly elephants.
Yes.
How do you handle that?
It's a very difficult thing to handle. In fact, I must recount to the listeners that about 6 or 7 years back, right on the New Year Eve, 31st December, when all of us were preparing to go to parties and other things, I got the information that elephants are near Khodes Park, Khodes Farm,
Yeah.
which is nothing but about 10 kilometers, and believe me, my entire party mood just evaporated. So, the problem is genuine, serious, and the department has prepared, no doubt, certain plans to tackle this elephantine issue, including the acquiring certain buffer areas, additional areas, for which almost 100 crore project has been, 500 crore project has been prepared, that you allow us to acquire the peripheral areas so that these and grow bamboo, etc. Thereby elephants would be persuaded not to. Government is thinking of such scheme. So, there is a plan in this scheme in the place. And secondly, government has also been thinking of declaring eco-sensitive zone around various national parks and sanctuary. Recently, Bandipur was declared. Maybe sometime Bannerghatta chance will also come, but it may not come so soon. But there are certain policies in the place.
Mr. Verma, usually because of this situation, an animal-human conflict begins. Most often, animals bear the brunt of human insensitivity. Sometimes animals too attack humans. How do you face it?
It's a very difficult situation because you have to have a balance between the two, and many times we are surrounded by villagers, we are attacked by them. It is very fair for them to express their anger on us. Many times when if you see any elephant, or for that matter any animal, let us talk of elephant, electrocution or shooting them dead, when the huge elephant carcass is lying on the ground, you feel so angry as a forest official or even as a citizen. So, in such situations, we immediately, to diffuse the crisis, we pay compensation to the farmer who has been affected, unfortunately, either by extreme situation or crop loss, and then try to give them compensation later on also. Put electric fences around their farms or around the corridor areas, and create a lot of eco-developmental works in the park itself, like creation of water holes for elephants to drink the water, and also to allow their movement across the river or through the corridor. So, these methods are there, but then elephants would do what comes to their mind, because they are used to traverse through one path to another path, from let us say Kaveri belt to almost Bandipur. There was a well defined path once upon a time, it is all ingrained in their mind. So, they try to take that area again. In between, when such conflicts come, we go and shoo them away. Crowds are collected by department, these crackers are burst to scare them away, but many times it so happens that we fail and these conflicts come. There we bring financial compensations and other physical barrier creation, electronic electric fencing as well as cattle proof, elephant proof trenches, etc., so that the problems are mitigated or minimized. So it's always constant battle, I would say.
Mr. Verma, usually people panic when a wild animal gets into your area. Most of them run for shelter and some of them start attacking the animals. What's your advice to people when they see a wild animal getting into an area?
I think the excitement is very natural, but with elephants it is better to be cautious, and we advise the crowd not to venture near these murdering elephants when they are on rampage. In fact, we ourselves have lost couple of vets and officials in such situation, and certain farmers people have also lost their lives. So, patience and discretion should be better part, and excitement should not be allowed to be run over. Again, there crowd mentality takes over. We are not having enough force to keep the crowd at bay, so we take police support. Most of the time it succeeds, sometimes it goes out of control. We expect and respect the people's life. We expect them to value for their life also. So we coax them as much as possible to be away from such straying animals, particularly elephants.
Ms. Verma, do you have enough staff in such situations where when people call you and say some cheetah or lioness or elephant has entered the area, do you have sufficient staff to immediately act and help people get out of that area?
Yeah, I think we do not lack staff there, in the sense there may not be any dedicated team except in certain very frequently visited areas by these elephants. Otherwise, the range forest officer and the ACF and the foresters and the guards, they generally are able to collect their own staff, watchers, and reach the spot, I would say, without much delay. Of course, one can never have enough of staff in more serious situations, but for general day-to-day thing, I would say we are overworked, but not too much understaffed for these situations, because we pull everyone together. Although in that beat there may be only one guard, but when the attack comes, everyone goes there. So
what is your advice to people? Don't attack or stone animals when they are there. Just leave them as they are.
That should be the only thing they should do. Apart from informing us, I mean, you know what happened in Mysore when the elephant came and it happened such a tragic situation. So we can not only advise, I can advise them through your medium, but also the villagers who are basically facing this situation. Half of our effort goes in keeping them at bay. So we request them. We would be really making an appeal to them to not to stone them.
Do you mean to say animals do not act unless they are provoked?
Well, generally because the first instinct is to shy away. We have seen many such cases, including leopards, etc. Elephants' mind is a little bit more complex, because they somehow, even sometimes without getting really provoked, sometimes they may, because they get disturbed even by sound. They are very sensitive to ultrasonic, which infrasonic, that is, even small whisper can disturb them. So if someone is making huge noise and or huge crowd, they get really. So even though for us it may not be provocation, we are only trying to express our anxiety, shout and push them, but they may be getting totally different message in their mind and they are counter attacking. So we should generally not take any such.
So what you say is elephants are more dangerous to humans than other animals?
Because of the sheer size and the damage which they are capable of inflicting, and the used way of passing by certain terrains, they are definitely chief concern.
So your advice to people is, when you see wild elephants in your area, don't make noise.
Definitely not if you want things to be sorted out professionally by forest officials. But unfortunately, shouting is the natural reaction, and people think, unfortunately, that they can be at a distance safely and indulge into this shouting, etc. But once if the elephant starts chasing, it is difficult to escape. We might think that they are running slow, but they really catch up fast. So best thing is to avoid them. I think that is where the messages should be keep on. It is not that even we should not wait when the conflict arises, we go and advise the people. It should be constant dialogue with the people who are living in those areas.
Mr. Verma, if a wild animal comes into our area, if we want to contact the forest department about it, is there any particular number, one number or email ID where people can immediately contact?
Yes, there is chief wildlife. First thing, in the headquarter, principal chief conservator and chief wildlife warden. Then recently we have opened unfortunately I have not brought that number, but it is a helpline number, what you call toll-free number has been dedicated to inform not only about wildlife but about any smuggling or anything happening. I can maybe take this number from concern and pass it on to you before
You
it
can
is.
pass it on before we
Yes,
hear the thing.
yes.
It would be nice.
I will do
to
that.
Sriram, huh?
Yeah.
We can,
I will
it'll be
definitely
useful to people.
tomorrow
Because
itself.
if
Yeah.
animal comes, I
Yeah.
don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to contact
Yes.
you.
And apart from that, apart from department, there are a couple of NGOs who are doing wonderful job, who can also be contacted, People for Animal. Then BBMP has got a forest, an animal cell, and CUPA. So all these numbers, well, I can pass it on to
If
you.
you can pass
All
it on,
these,
it will
sure.
be useful to
I
our
will do
listeners
it,
and
yeah.
they can spread the word
Yeah,
across.
I will do it tomorrow.